Hi, everybody. I hope that you're able to see me. We originally told everybody that we were going to be live on A Guy Gilchrist production, uh, but they're telling me that it can't go live. So, anyway, I hope that everybody that's over there on A Guy Gilchrist production is moving over to Guy Gilchrist. Hi. This is going to be a question and answer, and we've already got a whole bunch of questions. Um, Boy, oh boy. Hi, Logan. Hi, Brian. We've got a few questions, okay? And so I'm going to take the liberty of showing you a few things that folks have already asked me about. Number one, somebody asked me to try to show them how I draw the different Muppets and all of that kind of stuff. And, without me having an assistant here to be holding it over my shoulder and all of that kind of stuff, well, I did the very best, the next best thing, okay? Um, when I draw, I think of a ball. Now, it could be a football, it could be a soccer ball, but I'm a baseball guy. I think of a baseball. Now, pretend that this baseball, instead of having these laces on it, it has a longitude and latitude lines. Okay? I don't draw lines on paper, I draw shapes. And these maybe that's why my characters seem like they're so alive, okay? But imagine that there's a line going here and a line going here, and it straightens things out, and there's our center, okay? And we could put like another ball right there, and another ball right here, and another ball right here, okay? Now, watch. When we move that onto paper, not thinking of lines at all, but thinking of that ball, you see, we can start to turn that ball all kinds of different ways. See? And all of a sudden, the character starts to come through. And in this case,
It's Rolf the dog here.
but you can imagine all of the characters that you could ever draw. If you start thinking them as not lines on paper, but as actual shapes that have depth and dimension and weight, that's how you start. That's Rolf. Do I have a picture of Rolf up here? I hope I do.
Rolf the dog.
Baseball. I hope you are kind of getting this vibe now. But that's why things kind of look so real. Because they are. They are. Um, Kermit seems to be a problem for people to draw, because Kermit's not a ball, right? Right? Okay. Oh, Rick wants to tag. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Leaf. Oh, so I was talking about Kermit. You know who really taught me how to draw Kermit? Jim Henson. I was already drawing Kermit for quite a while, and then I finally met Jim before I started the strip. And Jim said something to me I'll never forget. He said, some of your drawings, he says, the writing's very, very good. And sometimes the drawings are great. And all the time they're good. But you know what, Guy? I'm going to do the Jim voice. But Guy, we don't want good. And we don't want great. We want Wonderful. And then Jim held up his hand with no Kermit on it, no puppet, and he introduced me to Kermit. Now, if you think of, and I hope you can see this, if you think of a hand, you see a hand in a sock. The hand becomes Kermit. Here's the hand, see? Here's the hand right here, right? There's Kermit. Here's the hand. Here's Kermit. And if you hang around long enough and you do a few thousand, that's what you get. We've got quite a few questions coming in here. And hi, Nancy, and hi, Jerry. It says, bring them on camera. I don't know what bring them on camera means. We've just brought those on camera. Oh, I think he means to bring the puppets on camera. I can't do that today, but Kermit is up there. You see Kermit up there? I'm going to try to find him for you. Oh, there's Kermit up there. And if you come on out and visit me at any of the Comic-Cons or anything like that, I'll be happy to bring Kermit with me and you can meet him there, okay? I'm going to be down in Alamo City next weekend for 3 days, and that's going to be a blast. And after that, we go to Muscle Shoals and do Confusion, and then I'm doing a speech and doing a motivational talk in Knoxville, and that's for a school. So you can't come to that one. And then I'm going to be all the way up in Boston. And hopefully by then we're World Series champs. I know. You all have your favorite teams, and I do too. And hopefully by the time I get to Boston, and that is, let's see, it's the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday right after Thanksgiving. You can, by the way, if you go to GuyGilchristProduction.com and put your name in there and register to be on our email, not only do you get all kinds of really cool notes from us with free drawings and all of that kind of stuff, you actually get entered to win a free drawing, because every single month we hand out a free drawing. And if you've been following along with us, when we do any kind of an appearance, and we do one or two or three pretty much every single month, we have a magic word. And we have a little video, and we put it out across Instagram and Facebook. And if you know the magic word and you send in your email, you might win some original artwork from me. Some folks wanted to know what sort of materials I use and what my techniques are. And, you know, I didn't go to art school or anything, so everything that I learned very kind of organically. And also, I went to museums, I went to libraries, I wrote away to art schools that I couldn't ever afford to go to, coming from sort of a poor family. And I got their curriculums, and I read, and I copied everything. And then I started working professionally for anyone that would hire me. And I just always did my best, and I looked at every single thing that they did, and that's the kind of stuff that I did. I'm going to flip this around for a minute so that you can see what this looks like. And I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to show you the giant mess that is my desk. You see, we've got like all kinds of drawings that I'm working on. Some have been colored already. This one still needs some color. Fozzie, he looks like he's okay here. He's probably done. These are things that I've been doing over the last few days. You know, you guys buy so many drawings from me at Christmas and all of that stuff. But this, right? Is this insane or what? You have all kinds of crazy stuff here. We have tons and tons of pencils. And of course, we've got brushes and things to wash brushes out in. And then there is this insanity over here. Look at these paints and dyes. Yes, 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 folks. All of this stuff. Oh, somebody wants to see that Kermit guitar. Well, there you go. All of this stuff is what I use. All right, let me see if I can flip this over again. Let's see. Bring them on camera. I'm not sure what you mean by bring them on camera. Oh, I think everyone's asking me to bring the puppets and stuff on camera. We're not doing that today. I do videos for you guys all the time. Hey, so there are some other questions. Okay. Who is my favorite Muppet? My favorite Muppet is always the one that I'm drawing for you. And that might sound like a stock answer, but it's not. Everyone keeps asking to bring the characters on camera. And okay, there you go. There's Kermit. He's here. Let me flip this around. Wait, no. Wait, okay, I screwed something up. Okay, here we go. There. I'm bringing Kermit on camera. There's Kermit up there. He is still napping. Hey, Frank, how are you? How's Buffalo? I'll bet you it's kind of cold. And give my love to everybody up there. Hey, someone did ask me, who's my favorite Muppet? People always ask me that, you know, who's my favorite Muppet? Who's my favorite character? My favorite character, my favorite Muppet, my favorite anything is exactly the one that I'm doing right at that very, very minute. It's the only one that matters, you know. And because, you know, I'm actually not an illustrator. You know, people say, you know, I'm an illustrator. I'm a cartoonist, and a cartoonist usually writes his own stuff. And I write my own stuff. I've always written my own stuff, from all the Mud Pie books and the Tiny Dino books and stuff to, you know, to the comic strips, you know, with Nancy and the Muppets and the Angels and Mud Pie and all of that stuff. You know, I write that stuff. You know, sometimes I'd have help. Brad, my younger brother Brad, every once in a while would help me out writing material and stuff. And of course, at the very, very beginning, I had Mort Walker, the man that really discovered me. And then Jerry Jewell, the head writer of the Muppets, would work with me on some of the stories that we'd be telling. But I always wrote my own stuff, and I guess that's why I'm so busy. But back to drawing. My favorite character is the one I'm drawing right now. And the advice that I have for anybody that's drawing is to make sure that whatever you're doing right then is the most important thing. Don't think about the money you're making. Don't think about how many people are going to see this. Don't think about anything except doing it the very, very best you can. And you know what? If you mess up and you make mistakes, well, you're in very, very good company. You know, somebody told me that I've drawn something like 120 to 160 1,000 drawings over my lifetime. And none of them were perfect. None of them ever are. We make mistakes. And that's how you get good. And I think I'm drawing the best that I've ever drawn in my whole life. And it's because I've made the most mistakes. So if you're an artist out there and you're making mistakes and you don't know if you're ever going to make it, you know what? Every single time you make a mistake, you ought to say, yay, me. Because it means you just learned something. And in that kind of life, right, we all mess up and we learn something. Right? Right? I got another note. I got a note saying, you know, how do you go from your rough drawings and stuff, which I've already shown you, very rough drawings, the shapes and all of that stuff, and getting into composition and all of that kind of stuff is something for another day. Okay. Oh, hey, that's very, very cool, Timothy, and thanks for sharing that. Timothy just said, drawing helped me stay clean and sober after recovery. God bless you, man. You know what? I was just going to show you some artwork, but hang on a second. I'm going to tell you a really, really kind of cool. Well, it's going to, if I get emotional on camera, okay. Many, many years ago, I know it was 2004 because the Red Sox won the World Series, and I was watching the World Series all by myself in a hotel room. I was in the Baltimore, D.C. area, and yes, we do have a YouTube channel, and it's Guy Gilchrist Music. And there's a lot of videos over there where I'm drawing on television and all kinds of stuff, okay? So let me finish this story. Thanks, Steve. So I had spent the whole week with some of this was 2004 at the height of the war. And I was drawing some pictures and hanging around and, doing whatever I possibly could to thank these incredible heroes that had, they'd lost limbs. It was rough. And anyway, a long time ago, at the height of me drawing the Muppets, the Muppet Babies, the Fraggles, the Turtles, Looney Tunes and everything, I blew my right arm out and it just wouldn't work, and I was getting cortisone shots and everything, and but I had to take a month off, and of course I couldn't take a month off. And I remembered watching a video of Pablo Picasso, and he had taken a big piece of charcoal or chalk, and he had taped it to a stick. And he held it out, and he could get far enough away that he could draw really big with his left hand instead of his right hand. And I remembered that. And so I did that. I'd set up big pieces of paper on walls in my studio, and I would tape Sharpies, big Sharpies, or chalk, pastels, that kind of thing, to a long ruler or a pointer or anything like that, and I started to teach myself how to draw left-handed. And then as time went on, I made the stick shorter and shorter and shorter until it was a pencil. Now I still can't ink right-handed. I'm not smooth enough, but I can draw left-handed. And when I was in Walter Reed, and there were some women and some men who had lost part of their right arm, their hand, all of that, and they couldn't write anymore. One of the doctors was incredibly kind to me, and he set that whole thing up for me in the commissary area, in the common area of the place, and we did it. I taped the thing to a pointer that they had, and started drawing the characters all left-handed, and we got some of the soldiers up, and they started writing their name left-handed. It's amazing. It's amazing. You know, what God gives you in your life, you never know. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen today, right? Anyway, that was very, very cool. Thank you very much for saying all of these things, very, very nice things to me. Um, uh, you know, I've had just an amazing life. It hasn't been easy, and none of yours are. And and the thing is, about being a famous cartoonist, working on a television show or a book or something cool like that, is what your present is, your reward for finishing your book or your movie or your TV show? You're out of a job, and you got to go get another one. And so it's kind of a roller coaster, and you do the absolute best that you can with everything that you do. But you're not a contract guy. I've never been a 9-to-5 guy, never had a 9-to-5 job, any of that. I was syndicated with Nancy for 23 years, and we did a lot of comic strips, not just the Muppets, back in the 80s for those 6 years, but lots and lots and lots of comics like Nightlights and Pillow Fights and The Angels and The Rock Channel and all kinds of things. Oh, somebody wants to see original art, finished, cool, original art, okay. I showed you this one, I think, yesterday. This is a painting I did yesterday. Hope you can see it. Oh, and there's Bert Nuri. Oh, Bert, I am so sorry for forgetting to feed your pigeons. I will go to the cupboard right now. I will find some saltines, and I will never, ever, ever forget to feed your pigeons again. I love those guys. Let's see what else is in. Oh, Tinkerbell and the Magic Kingdom. And how do I do it? I don't know. I sit there and I try to make the drawing as good as I can, and I know, what colors work with what colors and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, at 61 years old, and I started working for Walt Disney when I was 16, drawing coloring books. Well, if I don't know how to do it by now, duh, okay? So here's a couple of blondes. There's Tinkerbell again. Oh, Andy Reese, one of the greatest guitar players who ever lived. And the producer of my records is watching. There's Dolly. What was really cool about, what's cool about Dolly? Everything. And by the way, one of the coolest things that ever happened, by the way, if you're going through a hard time in your life or something like that, or you're a little bit older, or and you're thinking, what am I going to do next? I had just retired, just decided I was going to retire, from doing the Nancy comic strip. It had been almost 25 years, and I really, really loved it. But Buzz Cason and I had written some songs together, and I'd written a story arc for a movie, a TV show, a Broadway show, all kinds of stuff, because that's the kind of thing that I do. And so I was pretty comfortable in walking away, from it and saying, well, I'll do something else with it. And just as that decision was being made, by me. And of course, it was a long time in the making. 25 years is a long, long time, to be doing a daily comic. And, but don't God put probably the sexiest, most beautiful, talented superstar angel that there is on this planet into my life. And it was Dolly Parton. And so I kind of know how to draw Dolly because I had to draw Dolly for 13 animated videos. And I don't know if you know about these yet, but by the way, if you go to aguyGilchristproduction.com, aguyGilchristproduction.com, and please, bookmark it, but tell us you're there and say that you want to be on the newsletter and stuff, because you get amazing deals. Like you get 0.5% off of 50% or something off of posters and cool stuff like that. But anyway, and you can see a few of the Dolly Parton videos. Dolly's last album last year was called I Believe in You, and it was labeled as a children's record, but it was really a record for the whole world to try to heal our planet. And doesn't our planet need some healing? Really and really, really, really and truly. And I listened to this record, and it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard in my entire life. And Dolly wanted me to create a character named Little Dolly. Dolly at like 8 or 9 years old. And I did. And we put her on a golden train coming right out of the mountains of Tennessee and going all around the world. And there are 13 videos that we did. And 12 of the songs you never heard before. And one of them, on the anniversary of my mother's passing, it was released. It was Coat of Many Colors. And when you see the mom in the animated version of that I did, it's my mom. Hi, Mom. Mom was really the most important person in my life. She was the one that started me drawing, got me loving art, and I've had this incredible life. I'm going to flip this over again for a second. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to flip this over. Hang on a minute. And I'm going to pull out a cool book. How do I turn this around again? Oh, by the way, here. See some of my stuff? Oh, Burton Gilliam. How funny is he? And there are the tiny dinos and some of the baseball teams that I've worked with. Oh, look, there's Mud Pie. There's all the tiny dinos down there. And I want to show you this. Oh, Woody Woodpecker. Walter Lantz was my mentor beginning when I was 10 years old. And I want to show you this, you guys. Isn't this a cool book? It's my newest book. Check it out. It's a coloring book that's hardcover. And it's made out of rice paper in Nepal. And we use a vegetable-based ink. And the character's name is Buddha Bear. And it's a coloring book for kids and teenagers and adults. And it's an entirely, and it says, "Hi, my name is Buddha Bear. What's yours?" And then he says, "Look it, I hope we can be friends. Can I tell you something? I love to travel all over the world. I remember my first adventure. I missed home, and sometimes I was really lonely. And then he says, how do you feel when you're alone? And then you draw the picture of him walking. And as we go through the story, you can see that he goes through all the different emotions. See, when do you feel scared? And then he starts to meet his friends. That's Danny, the cricket. Looks like he needs a hug, huh? Look at, he's hungry. I love this book. I love the adventure of this book. And I really, really hope, oh, there's Danny. You see how Danny's got a ukulele, by the way? Any of you folks that know me, you know I love George Harrison, right? And George Harrison's son is named Danny. And, okay, why doesn't this work now? Usually don't know. Let's try to get that to work. Okay, that's better. George Harrison has a son named Danny, who's an amazingly talented guy. You know, we love from India. Hi, well, love from the United States, and love from all the cartoon characters that you grew up with that I had a chance to draw and write. Danny is a cricket who hangs out with Buddha Bear in the story. And you know how crickets and grasshoppers can rub their legs together and they can make a noise? I guess unless they're wearing corduroys, and then they make that zoop, zoop, zoop noise. Sorry, I'm a writer. Bad jokes are my job. I'll tell you a story about bad jokes. So anyway, when I started working with Jerry Jewell at the Muppets, right? We started talking about bad jokes, and Jerry told me Jim and Jerry and Frank's philosophy about jokes. He said, well, sure, it's a bad joke. We all know it's a bad joke. But is it bad enough for us? So we have fun with corny bad jokes. So Danny, unlike every other grasshopper, he can't, when he rubs his legs together, he doesn't make a noise. So he has a ukulele. And that's a tribute to George Harrison and the peace and the love that he tried to bring to this world, just like Jim did. So he plays a ukulele. George had the biggest ukulele collection in the world. I don't know if you all know that. When Paul McCartney does his tribute to George in concert, he plays something on a ukulele. I don't know if you know that. Anyway, it's a really, really cool book. It's called Buddha Bear, and you can't get it, by the way, on my website. We may have a few copies if you see me at an appearance, but it's not on my website, and it won't be, you can't buy it on my Facebook page. You have to go to Backpack Buddha, okay? Backpackbuddha.com. And they're all over social media and all of that. There's a video of me that comes out today with me talking about this. Guys, I'm so in love with this character because, and y'all know that I'm a Christian and I believe that God is love. And I've read the writings, of Buddha, and it's all about love. And I absolutely fell in love with this company. These guys, Leif and Erica, they take 10 and 15% of everything that they make, and they go to help people around the world. And if that's not the Book of James, I don't know what is. I met them just because I like wearing these beads. I have a cross here. I have my cross. And then I have these beads. And I put a post out on Instagram. I was painting a guitar one night, and they went, wow, hey, it's Guy Gilchrist, the Muppet guy, and we started talking. And when I started learning about them and how they were using their money, they were in Guatemala, I think, when I first met them, helping the people of that village. Their village had been destroyed. And I knew that these were people that I wanted to know for the rest of my life. And we got together, and I made up Buddha Bear, and I think you're going to really, really enjoy it. There's a book coming out, and then we're going to have a plush that comes out next month, and you are going to freak. It's the cutest plush that I've done since the baby Kermits and the baby Piggies. I am not kidding you. Anyway, I can't believe how many people are watching this. I love you so much. I think I've kind of hopefully answered all of your questions. Remember, really go check out Buddha Bear, and I think it's like $20. And I know $20 seems like it's a lot of money for a coloring book, but it's hardcover, and it's made of rice paper, and it's something you'll be able to keep and draw with your kids or with yourself. And I think you're really going to love it. You know, everything that I've ever drawn, every character, from the Tiny Dinos and Mud Pie, you know, all of my guys, you know, that won all those United Nations awards and all of that stuff. I always wondered why, you know, Jim hired me, because I had the least experience of anybody, you know. And I guess it's because we had the same philosophy. Be kind to everybody. Love everybody. Book of James, right? Help people out. They'll help you out. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And by the way, something that I've learned over the years, if you don't love yourself and be kind to yourself, and you just keep giving to everybody else, and you don't be kind to yourself and make time for yourself, then you won't be around to help other people. So be kind to yourself too, okay? I wanted to, so please, 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 please. Oh, someone's saying Gene Pitney. I love Gene Pitney. You know, he's from Rockville, Connecticut. You guys don't let me finish stories because you're asking so many cool questions. And this is very, 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 very neat. So please go to the website. If you are not a part of aguygilchristproduction.com, click on your thing and hit the contact and say you want to subscribe. We don't sell your stuff to anybody or any of that stuff. You just get cool stuff from us, and you find out about my new records and all of that. And hey, Rick Perry and W Rocks Records, they're putting out all of my music for all of you folks that know that I've been doing that for my whole life as well. They're putting out all my new music, my old music, all of it. It's all over Spotify and Pandora and all that. You know, one thing I wanted to, before I go away today, and hi, Mark Brewer. I love Mark Brewer. Mark came to work for me when he was, I don't know, 15, 16 years old, something like that. And he's the hardest working guy that ever worked for me. And you know all those awards that I won from the National Cartoonist Society? Mark won them too. And I'm actually prouder of the ones that he won. I'm happier. I was actually more happy when I found out that he won the award than even when I won the award. Don't get me wrong, it was really, really cool to win the awards, and I was very, very happy. I love you, Mark. Before I go, people say it's so cool that you carry on Jim's characters. And you know, I'll always be Jim Henson's cartoonist. I know some of you love the Turtles and Tom and Jerry and all of that. I love drawing all of them. And you know, and I've been drawing Looney Tunes and stuff for almost 40 years as well, and all of my characters and Nancy and all of that. But you know, I'll always be Jim's cartoonist. And you say it's really cool that you carry on his characters. Well, the most important thing to me is that we all try to carry on Jim's character. Okay? Know what I mean? Love everybody. Remember that we're all different, right? God made pigs and frogs and gonzos and turtles that live in sewers and all of that. And he made all of the creatures of the earth, and he made us all crazily different, but all equal. And you know, God didn't put those little dotted lines, you know, all over the world. You know, those are put there by whoever has the most guns and the most money at any particular time in the world. We're all the same, but we're all different. And we're supposed to love each other and treat each other kindly and compassionately and equally. And that's what the Muppets are all about. That's what the Tiny Dinos are all about. Buddha Bear is all about. If there's any legacy that I have at all, it's just that I've tried real hard. I did it all for you. I really did. I wanted to be silly and funny and entertaining and maybe teach you something along the way without maybe you didn't even know it, because that's the kind of sneaky cartoonist I am. I love you all. I thank you all for supporting me all of these years, and I love it when you tell me, hey, Mr. Gilchrist, you wrote my life, or you drew my childhood, or all that kind of stuff, and I'm really, really glad, because I had a blast doing it. And the people that I worked with, oh my gosh, Jim Mahon, one of the greatest art directors ever, 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 and sculpted so many incredible stuff. Remember those Tomy toys that you'd wind up and they were the Muppets and the Fraggles and they'd bounce and they'd do all that crazy stuff? Jim did all of that stuff. Amazing. Michael K. Frith. Michael was such a great artist and so smart. He didn't even go to art school. He's like, I don't know, went to Harvard, became like the president of Harvard or something, and then went to work for Dr. Seuss, and Jim hired him away from Dr. Seuss. And Michael taught me everything, how to draw the Muppets. And I'll always be Jim's cartoonist. You know, Michael used a blue pencil, and I used a brush. Anyway, I hope you guys have had a really good time drinking your coffee and all of that stuff and saying hi. I love you very, very much. And I'll see you on the road. I'll see you online. I can't say see you in the funny papers anymore, because finally, after 40 years, I'm not doing a daily comic anymore. I feel like I'm drawing the best art I ever have. We're working on a television show. As you know now, created Buddha Bear, and we've got a plush coming out, and of course, there's going to be a lot of stories. And I hope I get to see you on the road, on tour someplace. Please go look where I'm going to be. It's on the calendar at aguyGilchristproduction.com. Peace. I love you. I hope I even know how to finish this thing.